Hello guys, I'll try not to bore you, I promise. Today I'll be talking about an educational issue, and the issue I've chosen is technology, as in the last decade or so we have seen how it has changed the face of education in terms of how we engage with students on a more effective level. So first of all, technology has changed teaching and learning as we know it. Trotter acknowledges that the positive impact of technology does not affect all groups or nations equally due to a digital divide in education. So with Trotter's with what Trotter said, he's talking on a more international level. So of course, with third world countries, they won't have the same resources we do, and therefore that puts them at a disadvantage. It's inequality in terms of progress and resources really. Researchers such as Collis have concluded that a number of features of new technologies are consistent with principles of the science of learning and hold promise for improving education. Of course, we can't come to it's too early to come to a conclusion because technology has only been really included and integrated into education quite recently, and you won't see results, of course, straight away. As with everything, you have the positives and negatives, and you just have to give it time to succeed. So that's why we have trial and error. We certainly can't expect to introduce a new way and for it to succeed on the very first go. That'd be wishful thinking. So the problem or the issue that there is that not all students can afford technology for schoolwork, which it creates inequality, it creates problems. There is only so much funding the government can give into each sector, and of course, and unfortunately, education doesn't have nearly enough, and it would be quite unfair if people would be at a disadvantage if one child had access because their parents were from a high socioeconomic background. They had access to all these innovations, whereas someone from a low socioeconomic background wouldn't have the same resources, and it would prove a difficult concept. But of course, there are quite a lot of benefits of technology in schools. It allows for collaboration between teachers and educators online, which creates positive relationships, as well as they are sharing knowledge. Not everyone, each professional will have their own view on certain things, and to get together and share it, it's quite great because you are learning as a professional, and you are developing and reflecting upon yourself, critically reflecting on yourself and developing so that you are a better teacher and you are a better educator. It also introduces and encourages students to engage in their learning as independent and active learners, as we can see in the early years learning framework. It does really emphasize on students as independent and active learners, and also as independent learners, because they are stressing that we do want the children to be independent and to learn independently and explore, and of course the sky's the limit, to try and succeed in life. It also encourages problem solving skills through engagement in online activities. It helps students to develop new skills that they will need for the future. It is a, as we say, technological era, and we do have to take into account that 20 years from now, these students are going to be going to the workforce, and they need technology is a big thing in the workforce at the moment, and it's only going to go on from there. It's not going to go away anytime soon. So they have to learn how to use it in everyday life. Motivation, for example. So teachers have reported an increased motivation in schools that have adopted technology in their learning process. So, for example, it would be easier for a student to understand how muscles move in a video rather than reading it in a textbook. Textbooks are quite boring. I remember when I used to have to read them. Oh, it was a nightmare. So this also results in vivid comprehension. So when a child sees something visually, it sticks into their brains, and it captures their attention. It really does, with all the colours and everything, and the movement. So that's great. It improves their knowledge. So use of technology has created the need for teachers to collaborate and sharpen their skills, as I was saying before. To continuously develop professionally and build on your skills. Convenience, technology has brought convenience and flexibility second to none. Students, we can tell the students, it's a great day outside, let's go outside, let's all take our tablets or our laptops and go outside and do our work outside. So that's great, big to be out in the environment. Also availability, so information is readily available for both students and teachers. So there are tools and resources to foster better usage of online learning. It is, the information you'll find online is absolutely endless. Everyone shares their experiences and their knowledge, and it's great because you never learn, you never know everything. There's always room for you to learn, and so that's a great tool for that. So no one responds well to change, of course, and in regards to the issue of innovation, this is no different. Like I said before, it does need time. That's why we have trial and error. We certainly can't expect to introduce a new way and for it to succeed on the very first go, as I said before. So technological approach to teaching versus the traditional approach. So the traditional approach was more of like an old school method, was solving the equation on the chalkboard. That was great and all, but in this time and age, for example, I remember 10 years back, to get an assessment back was like, it was mission impossible. The teacher has on average 25 students in a class and several classes, some of them that, the high school ones that have several classes, and it is quite time consuming and exhausting for them to mark. And innovation has brought such dramatic change to that. For example, just the other day I was doing a quiz online for one of my units, and I submitted my quiz and I got the results on the spot, and it's great because it's not just the results, it's also, you also get feedback and it tells you the correct answers so you can build on your own knowledge and improve yourself. So there is an ethical dilemma here. So the question is it acceptable to use technology, and when access to it is not available to everyone, it's a lack of equality. And to what extent can we overlook these issues? It's quite a problem. So the solution may very well be to integrate both the old and the new, and put them together and make something out of them. Because it is important to ensure equity in terms of technological resources available to everyone for access. So, in quite a few policies in relation, there was more than a few actually, in relation to technology. For example, use technologies to access images and information, explore diverse perspectives, and make sense of their world. And also, so children benefit from opportunities to explore their world using technologies and to develop confidence in using digital media. So we are preparing them for life later on, for outside of school, in the workforce. So we've seen major shifts in the classroom. For instance, the teacher in the past was an initiator of instruction for the whole class, whereas now the teacher is more of a guide who helps or assists the students to find their own appropriate instructional path and evaluate their own learning. So students as passive individual learners to students as active learners working in teams to create new knowledge and solving problems. And of course, this was a great advantage was, innovation has brought about integration because, for example, in this instance, schools who are isolated by physical distance and are therefore isolated from society are now connected via technology, and also they're integrated back into society, which is great. They have you're connecting to everyone and no one's being left out. So in essence, technology has removed pre-existing limits so that teaching is boundless. Your only limit is your creativity and what you do with your resources, which is, it's fantastic. It's brought about such great change. Thank you.